Penguin Random House Audio presents Portraits of Courage, a Commander-in-Chief's Tribute to America's Warriors by George W. Bush. Read for you by the author.
Forward. This is Laura Bush. When George and I married, if someone told me that he would become president, I would have thought, well, maybe. He was running for Congress at the time, and we loved politics. But if someone said, one day you'll be writing a foreword for a book that includes George's paintings, I would have said, no way. Painting, even as a pastime, is serious business. Like any skill, it takes practice and discipline, which makes it well-suited to George, or more to the point, George well-suited to it. George is disciplined and project-oriented. He gets his work done, and he brings that dedication to painting. He works a few hours every day in his studio. Every new painter, even a former president, finds himself asking the question, what or whom should I paint? At the beginning, George specialized in portraits of our pets. They didn't mind posing for him, and their feedback consisted mostly of wagging tails or purring. Bob, our cat, was an especially willing subject, assuming a pose and then promptly taking a nap. But as much as George liked painting pets, he wanted to challenge himself. He began painting humans, even doing a few self-portraits. He thought of the people who had left lasting impressions on him. When he met with them, he didn't have a sketch pad in hand. He wasn't thinking about character studies, or light, or shadow. Yet in the hours and days they'd spent together, he'd studied them from a unique vantage point. Each of the remarkable men and women featured in this book is someone George knows. George painted them from his perspective, as an artist who was once their commander-in-chief. I've seen him with these men and women at the bike rides and golf tournaments our institute hosts for wounded warriors. I've seen him with them in military hospitals or in back rooms for private visits after speeches. I've seen George make good on his pledge to devote the rest of his life to helping them. Recently, George was looking through a book of paintings, and he pointed out a piece by Thomas Moran, saying how much he liked it. I said we had a painting by Thomas Moran hanging just outside the treaty room at the White House. George had passed that painting nearly every night when he went into the treaty room to continue working after dinner, but he never noticed it. His attention was elsewhere. Our country had been attacked, and as a wartime president, he received casualty reports every day from the front lines. His thoughts were with the troops on the battlefield, the families of the fallen, and the wounded warriors in hospitals around the world. Art was the last thing on my husband's mind. George and I are forever thankful for the brave men and women who volunteered to defend our country, who risked their lives and too often gave their lives, so that the rest of us might never know terror again. We're thankful for the nation that allowed us to serve it for 8 years. And I'm grateful that, at last, George has a chance to develop his artistic eye.
Forward.
General Peter Pace, United States Marine Corps retired, 16th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. This is a collection of portraits of our nation's heroes. Some of their faces are well known, some not so familiar. Yet we recognize all of them by their character, and we admire their willingness to defend the freedoms we all hold dear.